You want to try D&D and you've got the starter set, but what now? Feeling a little overwhelmed about what's in the box, what to do next? Let's go through it step by step and get you playing. Hey adventurers, be sure to join our growing community, and if you enjoy all things D&D like tips, tricks, unboxings, and reviews, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss a single video. So the starter set is great for new dungeon masters and new players to teach you how to play and get you going. First off, let's see what's inside here. You're going to find a set of 6 polyhedral dice. You're going to find the starter set rulebook. Now this is a basic set of condensed rules designed to make it really easy to learn how to play for the first time. Then you've got a book that says Lost Mind of Phandelver on it, or Phandelver, or however you want to say it. This is the actual adventure book. This is for the Dungeon Master Guide's eyes only. No players should be reading this book. This has all the secrets of what's going to happen in the adventure inside. Lastly, we have 5 pre-made character sheets. There's a human fighter, a dwarf cleric, a halfling rogue, a high elf wizard, and a human fighter. These are already all filled out. The players get to give them a name, and they're designed to be all ready to get you to jump right in and start playing. That's pretty much everything that's in the box. There's an advertisement in here and blank character sheet on the back that can be photocopied and just a cardboard insert. That's really all that's in the box. Okay, so you just need these character sheets, the dice, rulebook, adventure book. That's it. Super simple. Now I suggest whoever is going to be the dungeon master, and likely it might be whoever owns the starter set or purchased the starter set, that you take the time to read through the rulebook. It's really not that big at all, and once you actually take away there's a few pictures in here that are just full art, that it's really only about a 25-page book. And I don't mean try to memorize it or anything. There's absolutely nothing wrong with, as you're playing, stopping and looking something up in the book only if you want to, okay? Now, again, the adventure book is for the dungeon master's eyes only. Whoever's going to be the dungeon master, I also suggest that you take the time to at least skim through the entire adventure. Now, Dungeons & Dragons states that they think this adventure can be played in about 5 4-hour sessions. And again, it kind of depends on if you're playing with children, maybe their attention span might be a little different. Sessions might go a little longer to get through each part, or sessions might go a little shorter just because their attention span might not want to play that long. You need to do whatever works best for you and your group. There's no right or wrong way to do it. But at least skim through the whole adventure and then read part 1 in depth and assume that that's going to take you about 3 to 4 hours to play. So in the beginning of the adventure book, the Dungeon Master is going to find an introduction with kind of like an overall story arc of what the adventure is about, with a background, which is just a little bit of history, and an overview of the adventure itself. It lets you know that it is divided into 4 parts, which is, again, a great way to split it up, a great way to split up gaming sessions. So that's why I suggest, after skimming the whole thing, that you at least read the part 1 adventure really good. It also has maps included for the Dungeon Master to kind of get a sense of reference of where the characters are. Now, the maps that are included in this book are also just for the Dungeon Master, because it will mark some things on the maps, like where traps are located, where secret doors are located, and you definitely don't want your player seeing those types of things on the map. So even the maps are Dungeon Master's eyes only. Now, one thing you'll notice as you go through the adventure, and I'll put some close-ups in here, that you're going to see different colored text boxes set off with bars, okay? These types of text boxes are what you literally read aloud to your player, And then everything else is also for the Dungeon Master's eyes only. It's about the information that the Dungeon Master knows about the adventure, but the players haven't figured out yet. And it's going to give you information with different scenarios. If the players decide to do this, then do this. If they decide to do this instead, then skip ahead to this. So it's very clear, gives you a lot of information on what to do step by step to just keep the adventure going. Now, the first time the characters come across some combat, it's also very easily explained in the book, step by step, how to go through combat, as well as referring you back to the combat rules in the rule book. And this is a lot easier than it sounds. Don't get overwhelmed by combat at all. Really, all you're going to do is determine if anyone gets surprised, determine the turn order that people take in combat, quickly kind of figure out where everybody's located in relation to everybody else, and take your combat turns and then go on to the next round. And a round is just everyone getting one turn in combat. Do me a favor, folks, if you're getting value out of this video, can you go ahead and just hit that like button? It helps us out a lot and helps more friends to find us. Now, while your characters are fighting, the rulebook is going to give you the different options that they have available while they're in combat. On each player's turn, they get a movement and an action. Some players may get bonus actions or even reactions if something happens to them on someone else's turn, and all of that is covered here in the rulebook. The adventure book also has a couple appendices, I think, which lists your magic items and what they do, and the monsters. So when it's time to run some combat, the Dungeon Master is able to flip to the back of the book and get stat blocks for each of the monsters. Now, a stat block for a monster is almost like a condensed character sheet because all the characters have statistics as well as the players do, and they have different kinds of weapons and they do different amounts of damage. So all the information that you need about anything that the characters are fighting are right here in the back of the book. Don't be afraid if you want to stop for a moment and look something up in the rule book to make sure you're playing correctly. But again, at the same time, if you don't want to do that and want to just keep the game going, then the Dungeon Master should just decide what the rule's going to be for now and just keep on playing. We played many games in the beginning when we were learning where we stopped and looked things up in the rule book. However, there was also a few times that we found when we finished playing and I looked a little more into things, I said, oh, we didn't play that right, but that's okay. Just let everybody know what the correct rule is next time and just keep on going. It's all about having fun. Now, this adventure is designed to take your characters all the way from level 1, which is what they are on the character sheets, up to level 5. So as they finish different combat encounters and as they finish different sections of the adventure, it's going to tell the Dungeon Master how much experience points to reward and if they found any treasure, which players would divide up and just mark right down on their character sheet that they now have this new piece of treasure, whether it's money or a magic item or a magic weapon. They're just going to record that right on their character sheet. Now, once you have enough experience or have reached certain parts of the story, their characters are going to go up to the next level. The great thing about the starter kit is the back side of the character sheets actually tell each character what to do when they gain a level. That they have a new feature available. And the fact that it's printed right here on the back means that they don't necessarily have to write it on the front if it's a new feature. I might still jot it down and just put C reverse so I know that, oh, that new feature I got, how to use it is right on the back. It will also tell them if any of their ability scores go up, if any of these 6 basic scores that make up their character's traits change, and how to make all the adjustments for all their skills if that happens. So that's a really neat thing that it's literally, you don't have to have the player's handbook for this. gaining levels in this starter set adventure is literally right here on the back of their character sheet. So when deciding to play Lost Mine of Phandelver, I would go ahead and with the group decide who's going to be the dungeon master and what character each player would like to play. Now, I would probably decide that who's going to be the dungeon master beforehand, because they're going to want to read through the rule book and at least read part 1 of the adventure and kind of skim through the rest of it so they kind of know what's going to happen in the future. Then when you sit down to play for the first time, I would let each person choose a character sheet that they want to have be their character. And for this starter adventure, you will be okay with just 1 set of dice everybody could share. In the future, if everybody's really enjoying and they want to keep playing, you might want to have each player get their own set of dice. But the fact that they provided them here in the starter set gives you everything you honestly need to just sit down and play. You really could share for a little bit. And then the dungeon master is just going to start reading right from the beginning of part 1 of the adventure, the text box that's set aside in the bars to read aloud, that's going to set the scene for the players of what they're up against. And literally, once they start describing that, then they're just going to ask the players, what do you guys want to do? What would you do from here? And they're going to, kind of role play their character a little bit and say, well, I think my character would do this. My character would do that. Or maybe they're going to decide to all do something together. And there will be, like I said, instructions right in the book that lets you know if any of the characters do this, have them roll these dice. And if they get this result, this happens. Or if they want to go over here and do this, it might spring a trap unless one of the characters decides to check for traps first. And if you're trying to play and you get some more questions or even some more questions before you start, just let me know in the comments down below what kind of questions you have that I can answer for you about the Lost Mine of Phandelver. Now it's time for the epic question of the day. The back of the starter set, mentions everything that's inside the box. And as a little teaser, it tells you that you can explore subterranean labyrinths, plunder hordes of treasure, and battle legendary monsters. So I want to know in the comments down below, what do you think your favorite part of playing in Dungeons & Dragons is going to be? Or what already is your favorite part if you're already playing? Do you love the exploration? Do you love plundering the hordes of treasure? Or do you love combat? Do you love battling monsters? Let me know down below which thing is your favorite thing to do when you play.